All right, welcome back, everyone, to the next episode of A Conversation with Kely. Here to talk about a show that everybody is talking about right now. Everybody is the excitement has never been higher when it comes to this show, right, Ali? I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
everybody is everybody is clamoring at the bit, wanting to know our thoughts on
I mean,
what
like,
is.
it'd be it'd have way more hype if they brought live feeds back this
Yeah,
season.
what is easily the
But
most popular season of their
I will
show.
say
Everybody.
though, because digital dailies don't really say much or do much, and people aren't really like hyped on it. I feel like they will bring back feeds next season at least because how people don't really like it.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way right now. So I do want to throw out two quick disclaimers about this podcast. One, if you are looking for like a very factual account of like everything that happened in the season, good luck with that because I feel like there are very few places that's actually going to be somewhat helpful. People have looked into digital dailies. It's essentially been like it's kind of like if you were to like summarize like just a couple hours of gameplay, um and that was it. Like that's basically a digital daily. That's all it kind of amounts to. So we're not really going to go off of those that much. Also, we can't go off of that in this episode because everything they've shown happens after what we're about to talk about.
Yup.
um so going great with the digital dailies, going great. Second thing is though, I really don't want to dwell too much on the fact that we don't have feeds because there's generally nothing we can do about it. Like it sucks, and I hate the fact that when this season ends, I won't feel satisfied because I'll say it right now, no matter how this season turns around, I don't think I can accurately grade this season. I don't think I can
Yeah.
accurately talk about this season and the players that inhabit it because we just don't have, we just don't have a clear idea of how are these people actually playing? What are they doing in the show? And to add on to that real quick, something that I was actually thinking about before we did this podcast, if they were planning on doing this from the beginning, which I don't think they were, because if you go back on the digital dailies, one of the first thing it said was miss the live feeds, catch up on the digital dailies. So it
Yeah.
seemed like they already had the digital dailies implemented, and this was going to be kind of like a way to, if people didn't watch the feeds, they could go to the digital dailies, which that is a good idea. If you have the feeds, then yeah, do the digital dailies for people who like didn't get to watch like for the day and they want to see like important events, like then yeah, do the digital dailies. But the problem is when you don't have it, you have nothing to fall back on. And as a result, it just feels like we're getting pieces of what we should be getting. And so no matter what happens this season, I just don't feel like this is going to be the most satisfying way that we could have gotten it. And I also feel so bad for the majority of these players who, there are some people admittedly this season who aren't really fans of the show, but for the ones that
Yeah.
are, you think about how much
The
they
major
wanted to apply
yeah,
to
like
this show.
yeah, the majority of them are definitely like casuals who've only seen like
Yeah.
a few seasons, but I mean, we'll see what
I'm speaking
happens.
specifically to like the JMs and the Daniels who have like
Yeah.
been applying constantly throughout their
Oh
entire
yeah.
life. And they finally get that chance to be on the show. And not only are they not given the full experience, they're not even being the production's not even being truthful to them about what's actually going on. Cause that's the other thing we need to throw out
Yeah.
here. The players themselves are not being told that there aren't live feeds. So they are still playing the entire game expecting that people are watching. So when they get out of the house, and if there's something that they did, we kind of just have to take their word for it. So
Pretty
yeah,
much.
just in general, the whole thing is just kind of skewed right now. But again, we need to recognize there's really nothing we can do about it. We can complain, we can complain all we want, which is understandable. Everybody should be upset about this. But do you really want to
Yeah.
sit here for like, I don't know how long and just listen to us like rant about the fact that we don't have feeds? No, you want us to at least try to work with what we have. And so I will say right now, we're not going to try to dwell on it too much,
Yeah.
just because like that's not really what you're here to do. Like, yes, we
Yeah.
could just
I
complain
will
about the
say
feeds, but
too, like we don't have that many notes because the first episode there wasn't really much to say.
oh,
And then The second one was just like a very few things to talk about.
Yeah, so we'll get into that in a little bit, but I just wanted to throw that disclaimer out there real quick. We're upset that there are no live feeds. We hate the fact that they're not around, but we're going to try to still enjoy talking about this season, even without having a fair idea of what everybody is doing in this game, because especially based on these 2 episodes, if this is any indication of what we're getting, I don't know what we're even going to talk about on this podcast.
And also, you were saying when we were watching episode 2 last night, you said that people are just kind of boring so far.
Oh yeah, if I'm being honest, I'm not really feeling this cast right now, especially with episode 1. This cast is giving me major like BBUS vibes. Like these are a lot of people who they feel like recruits. They don't feel like they have a fair idea of how the game is really going. There are people who are very obviously in control, and because of the fact that these people don't really know what they're doing, they're kind of just letting them get away with it. And I'm hoping that it turns around, but right now, even without the feeds, I'm not feeling this season at all. But what do you think? And also, what did do you have anything to add to my little disclaimer before we talk about this a little bit more?
I mean, I honestly like echo you with everything you just said. I just wish live feeds were a thing this season, because then we can actually talk about people more, like just their games and everything, get to know them more on a personal level. Like as of right now, there's only a few people that are like impressing me game wise based on these a couple episodes. So it's like we will see what happens. Hopefully it gets a little bit better. I mean, and obviously just please bring back live feeds. That'll be so much better for everybody.
Yeah.
And the show, of course.
Great if they would, but I don't think I think the jury is out on that this season at least.
Yeah.
With that said, though, like I said, let's get into the episodes here, which really just not a lot to talk about.
It says it's going live on Facebook, but like I think you did the thing again where it's only where it doesn't show up.
It keeps doing this. I don't know why. It did it with my Oscars stream yesterday. Like it just it doesn't want me to upload on Facebook. It only wants it to be with myself.
Oh no. We had like one viewer a little bit ago, but that was it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely hope this season gets more interesting. And like I hope at least Digital Dailies gives us more than just people working out and vacuuming and cleaning. Or just
that's
around.
the other thing. That's the other thing. If this is all you're going to give us, maybe don't give us people just like vacuuming and like playing werewolf. Like try to actually give us an idea of what's going on in the house. Because again, it feels like we're not even getting the bare minimum. We're getting like we're getting very quick snippets of conversations, and we don't even know the full context of it. So it just doesn't even feel like it's worth it. At that point, don't even do them because I agree with what people are saying. It doesn't even seem like they have much of an idea. They're just kind of trimming whatever and trying to cram as much as they can. And as a result, we're not getting anything.
Literally.
Like there are people here who I generally can tell you I don't even know what they're doing. Like we know very little about Daniel. We know very little about Anika right now. We know very little about Renee. Very little even about the HOH. We know very little about her. But we'll talk about that later. Let's get into this episode.
Literally, if we wanted to like watch anyone clean and stuff, we would go clean our own house.
Yeah, literally. That's not what we're here to do. But anyway, we're getting off track here. Let's actually get into the first episode, which what the hell is there even to talk about?
Did you fix the thing on Facebook?
Yes, I think I did. I should have. It said it should say public now.
Let's see. Oh, now it's live. Perfect.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Like I said, very few notes for episode 1.
Also,
we're gonna
try to get into wrong.
Okay, so we're gonna get into episode 1.
On here, you said Canada with 2 N's.
No, yeah, I did see that. Okay, so we're gonna get into this here. We get this very super extra intro as usual about how time is the enemy and everyone is a suspect. I always like the intros that they do. I like how much they go all out with this stuff, and that definitely didn't change in terms of oh, we have a comment.
It's
Oh,
it's me
okay.
it's me saying that because I thought it was funny.
Oh yeah. Um,
We love the
okay,
we love the
so the
typo, by the
season
way. Okay.
So the season turns out to be horror and clue themed. It's kind of revolving around a murder mystery of sorts, and I like this quite a bit. I think it's cool to have to evolve the show at some point, have to change things up. What do you think of the theme of this season?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Like I don't hate it per se. I just think really now they're trying to literally everyone's gonna try and want to win comps now. And
Oh, we're not
comps
talking about the twist. We're just talking about the
oh.
theme,
Oh, the theme.
like the
What
theme
what was the theme?
that it's like murder mystery
Oh, yeah, murder mystery. Sorry, I
or
don't know why
BB
I don't
Can
know.
Manor as they're calling it.
Sorry, I totally got confused what you were trying to ask me. I think it's pretty cool. Like I always love murder mystery stuff, so it's definitely a really cool theme. I just hope they can actually like work well with it. Hopefully it doesn't get all insane and like out but like I hope it's really cool and I hope it's all like out there and fun and I hope it makes the season a little bit better.
Yeah, I like the idea of this theme. I think it keeps things fresh and exciting. Doesn't really seem like they're doing too much with it, aside from one thing that we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting into this premiere, this felt like a Big Brother move-in US premiere. Like that's what this felt
Yeah.
like to me. The majority of this premiere is going through everybody's intro packages, seeing people meet very briefly, and then heading right into a comp. There's like really not much going on here. And like I said, I would be forgiving if this was actually live, if this was the night they were moving in, but it's not. We're watching this on a Wednesday. They moved in on like a Sunday. I don't understand
Yeah.
why they couldn't try to at least give us something here. Maybe give us a longer premiere, give us like a 2 hour, hour and a half premiere, just getting a chance to get to know everybody because there really is almost nothing to go off of when it comes to this first episode. Like, if you're watching this season just based on the episodes, I already feel like they're not doing a good job with that either, which they should be putting just
Yeah.
as much effort into, and they're not, especially with
I
this first
hope the next
episode.
episode's better, but we will see.
Yeah, this was
Because right now we're just covering the first two.
yeah, this was a very, very uneventful first episode. We see the first four people enter the
I will
house. Yeah,
say, literally the like intros were pretty much the half of the episode.
yeah, literally, that was most of the episode. No, most of the episode was the intro.
Like
The
30 to
first half of
40
her
minutes.
first half of the episode was mostly intros. The second half of the episode was mostly a competition, which we'll get
Yep.
into. And it's a competition that isn't even that satisfying because they didn't explain it well. But anyway, the first four to enter the house, we see are Kuzi, Zach, Ty, and
Oh,
Santina.
also, I will say, I love the intro part because like I always love how BB Can makes really extra and over the top intros.
Oh yeah, yeah, I
They're so
enjoyed that
cool.
too. Yeah. Ty and Zach seem to be growing close almost immediately, which is not too shocking. And this is really where we start to recognize that the hope that like Zach would not do well this season is dwindled immediately because this is going to be a very bro heavy season. There's a lot of alpha males in this cast. They seem to be clicking very well, and it's not boding well when it comes to an entertainment level. It's really not that interesting to watch, and
Yeah.
seeing these two immediately just like bond with each other. And look, obviously, yes, they're the first four people coming into the house, but
I will say,
it
even though
seems
like
like they're sticking by each other.
I feel like I know we're gonna get more into it, but like I feel like if Zach is kind of doing a lot right now,
Oh, he is.
I feel like he's one of those people that's gonna play too hard too fast and get himself evicted soon.
See, the problem with me, and like I'm sure a
Well,
lot
we'll
of
see.
the problem for me with that, and why I don't think that's going to happen is because from the focus that Zach gets in these first two episodes, it already feels like he's like the production favorite. They're gonna do everything they
Oh
can to
God.
make sure he lasts in the season because they're just like obsessed with him. Like episode 2 is mostly all Zach, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But
It's
Zach
not
is
the
not going
Zach
anywhere for a
show.
while.
It's a show for all of them, not the Zach show.
Yeah, and again, especially when this is all we have to go off of mostly, it's really not great. But
Yeah.
the next 4 house guests to enter are Amal, Jonathan, Hope, and Renee. We then get the next 4 of Anika, Daniel, Claudia, and Roberto. Hope and Roberto also seem to bond pretty quickly. So again, we have more alpha males bonding. There is a moment where we see Kuzi, Zach, Ty, and Santina say they want to like keep each other safe. This doesn't really seem to go much of anywhere. There's not really much to go off of here, but we do get a brief segment with that. Santina finds this hidden door. I thought this was going to be something interesting. Like, oh my God, it's literally just the diary room. And we get this really cringy moment of everybody just like waving to the camera.
They're just like, oh my God, it's the DR. Woo!
I'm just like, why did you show this? Like, literally,
It's filler.
again, I would be forgiving if this episode was live and this is all you could do, but this is not live. This is an edited episode. You could have easily cut this out, give us something a bit more interesting from a game level perspective, and they didn't even try. So, yeah just very, very throwaway. The final group to enter are JM, Shanaya, Dan, and Vanessa. They all suspect immediately there's some kind of
Also, I will say something funny. When you say Dan and Vanessa, it makes me think of Gossip Girl.
Yeah. They all go around and introduce each other. Shanaya is very much into Roberto almost immediately, especially with his numerous tattoos and the nose hoops. So that could potentially be something. We'll have to see. We see, I talked about this, Anika, Ty, Santina, they established some kind of bond. Claudia and Jonathan are also bonding a bit. But again, there's these conversations are so short. There's not even really much to go off of here. Like
I will say, like, Jonathan doesn't even seem like a bad person. Like, he seems nice. He's just so monotone and so boring.
But I mean, it is working to his advantage, I think. With this cast, because this is not a very entertaining bunch so far. They're kind of it's kind of a snooze fest right now. I'm not gonna lie when it comes to this cast. So they all hear a chime at the doorbell and they receive a letter that then tells them they have each received. And again, I thought this was going to be something interesting. I thought this was going to have something to do with a twist of sorts. No, it's literally just so they can promote their merch. They received a winner's bag and to enjoy while they still can. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
I will say Winners is a great store, but like really just that's it.
But like, why the increased focus on sponsors? Like, why do we care about this stuff? We already get those segments with Wendy's. We don't need a whole segment of people trying on winners' outfits. Like, just show the commercials. Like, it's not. It just is. Again, it just feels like throwaway content, and that's how a lot of this episode feels like. There's so much they could have shown, and
I will say,
try.
I will kind of say if I was in this season, I would probably be in the gas station room just eating snacks all the time.
Yeah, we'll talk about that room in a little bit.
That would be so fun.
But Arissa talks to all of them, welcomes them to the season. She tells them that no one is going to be evicted this week, which is not completely uncommon. A lot of the time in BBUS, before they would turn on the feeds night 1, there would be like 2 weeks of the game that went by because the first week is usually so long. It just feels a bit unusual for BB Can because we're used to like that hyper week of what happened. I will say though, in a world where we have feeds and things like that, I actually don't dislike this change. I like the fact that we don't have to play catch up and try to figure out what happened in the last week. And we don't have to see somebody's downfall happen so quickly. But at the same time, as much as it sucks, like the last 2 seasons, seeing like, what was their names? Who left last season? I can't think of her name.
The first?
Oh, Melina. Yeah, seeing Melina go, and then in Big Brother Cannada 9, what was her name that left? I forgot.
Shoot, what was her name? One sec, let me go look. It was Oh, Julie.
Yeah, seeing those two leave, like, yes, it was devastating, but I won't lie and say it did add some momentum. It added some
Yeah.
excitement. It was like, oh my God, somebody's leaving already. Who's it going to be? And I feel like not having that here, there just isn't really a lot to get excited about with this
Yeah.
premiere, because we know there's not going to be an eviction. We know that the competition itself is going to take some time. And so there just isn't a lot to get excited about. And then we're told some other information that I'm not very happy about. We're told that this season will be starting with something new, and it's called the Dead Last Twist. And basically, this means if you come in last, they will automatically be nominated for eviction. And as usual, the HOH will nominate 2 people for eviction, meaning there will be 3 nominees. She also informs them that for this competition, they will be playing in pairs. I will ask you for your thoughts in a little bit, but the way that I felt about this at first, I didn't dislike this twist when I first heard about it. I thought, okay, this is kind of different from what we've seen. It's not like, they play this competition and then they get to choose a third nominee. It's just automatically their third nominee. But I actually thinking about it, this might be worse than the third nominee twist that we've seen, because at least with those, it adds a little bit of options into the game. There are things that you
Yeah.
can do. Like, for example, in Big Brother 18, the way they handled the 3 nominees there, I don't think was terrible. With having one person win a roadkill competition, that person gets to put up a nominee. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that, really. Yes, it changes things up. Yes, usually it means that there's one nominee who's completely safe and doesn't even have to worry about going. But I would much prefer that over somebody who literally just goes on the block because they place last in the competition. It seems very unfair to me. And also,
Yeah.
it very much encourages this like mob mentality of sorts in the game. It's like, okay, we all just got to stick together. We all just got to make sure that we don't come last in this competition. And then we can make sure that the person that we want goes up, and then we're fine. And that's what I hope this season does not turn into. But with the way this twist is, it kind of is already encouraging that. I can already see scenarios where people are going to get in groups and say, okay, this person has told me they're bad at the comp. We just have to make sure we don't place last, and we can control this week, because that's basically what this encourages. So yeah, I really don't like this twist at all. I don't know how long this is going to last, but the fact that it's a name twist makes me feel like this is not going to be just a week-long thing. This is probably going to last at least, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, probably.
But I really hope it doesn't impact the game all that much. But I already feel like it is, because it changes so much of the dynamics here. Because people, throwing comps, you can't even, that's not even a strategy now this season. If you throw a comp, you're guaranteed to go on the block. So it's like, it just removes a lot of the, I feel like, interest of the season, because it's like, oh, now I just don't have to place last and I'll be fine. And I just feel like that's really boring to watch. So yeah, overall, I'm not really keen on this twist, and I really hope it doesn't last that long, because I feel like this is something that BBUS has tried so many times and it hasn't worked out. And the fact that this is what BB Can is now doing, basically just recycling something from BBUS that didn't work, I expect a lot more out of them than this. I really do. I feel like they usually get a lot more creative when they're twists, and this is very half-assed. It's not really fair to the people who aren't good at comps and can't
Okay, I
really.
won't say it's half-assed.
Oh, I think it's pretty half-assed, because it's like they could try to come up with something of their own, and instead they're basically just regurgitating something from BBUS that hasn't worked out before.
Kind of, but with their own twist.
I mean, yeah, but it's still a third nominee, and that's really boring to watch. So
I mean, every Big Brother does that. Third nominees.
not off BB Can, not often though, at least from what I've heard and what I've seen.
Because because BB Can will have had triples.
Yeah, that's true, but that's different. That's like, this is an every week thing. They haven't done that before.
So maybe it's just like a pre-jury thing, or just a couple rounds.
I don't know. Either way, it seems like it could really impact the game. But what do you think of this twist?
I mean, okay, I don't hate it, because I obviously I like that they have their own little twist, but like, I don't know. I just, I just think it's not exactly fair, like you said, just because people obviously want to throw comps and just don't want to make themselves look like this huge threat.
They can't even do that.
So like now they have to try and win or
Yeah.
at least not get last because they want to stay safe because whoever gets last is nominated. So it's
Yeah.
like it has like its pros and cons. Like I don't hate it because like I like it's cool like what they're trying to do just to make it a little different. But like I still find it not exactly fair.
Yeah, and like if this was like a survivor twist, I feel like this could maybe work. Like you're
Yeah.
automatically like eligible to like you're suddenly like vulnerable and things like that. But I feel like as a Big Brother twist, it just isn't exactly fair. And I'm just not a
Yeah.
big fan of, especially in a cast with so many alpha males who you know are going to do well at the comps. It disincentivizes the ones that aren't as good at comps to have any reason to even try because they know they're already going to do badly. So yeah, it's just very it just makes it a lot less interesting to watch. So yeah, overall, I'm not really a fan of this twist at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really all we have. We see Roberto pulls Hope aside immediately, says that they want to make sure that they don't come in last, but also can't come in first because they don't want to make an enemy the first day. Which yeah, I mean this makes
Well,
sense. This is
yeah, makes
probably
sense.
the best way to go about it. But again, that's such boring, simplified gameplay, and I feel like this reasoning that Roberto has, it's gonna last the entire season. At least
Yeah.
as long as this twist is a thing, people are gonna be like, oh well, I don't want to be HOH, but I just got to make sure I don't come in last. And like, that's so boring to me. Like
I know.
people aren't going to be even willing to make the moves because they're not even going to know, like, you know, if their target is going to go, because with this twist, you could literally have, this is like the hacker twist in 20, where it's like you could
That's
inadvertently
true.
lose your closest ally and it's not even your fault. So yeah, just not a fan of this at all. The teams of two are as follows, and here's the other thing with this: they do not give us any context whatsoever as to why these teams were picked,
Yeah, they don't.
as to who the teams are. They don't even really do a good job of introducing the teams. They kind of just they force you. I literally had to like look at every single sign and just see who was paired together because it was so difficult to figure it out. We have Nika and Daniel, Claudia and Jonathan, Rob and Hope, Vanessa and Dan, Renee and Shanaya, John Michael and Santina, Zach and Ty, and then Kuzi and Amal. Those are the teams that we have for
Hello.
those are the teams that we have for this and yeah, like I said, they didn't even really, I think they didn't really like explain the teams very well. The challenge itself, they also didn't explain very well. It's like they have to build a puzzle.
So, how's everyone tonight? Before we continue the episode stuff.
The
Oh,
challenge itself,
what happened?
it doesn't matter. The challenge itself, they have to build a puzzle while the other partner is up higher, where they have to then dangle from a net and then work on the rest of the puzzle together. I think that's what the challenge was. Again, they didn't explain it at all, like what the challenge really is, what they're really trying to do, what the objective is. They kind of just like threw you into it. I don't think they did a good job of like showing who was even doing well in the challenge either. It was very hard to tell.
Yeah.
And again, if this was live, I'd cut them some slack because they have to kind of just work with what they have. But again, this is an edited episode. They can
Yeah.
easily make this so it works. Like you can do something as simple as just showing the pairs and then just showing us why they picked each other, like a quick little diary room thing of like, I
I know,
picked
I
this
wish
person
they
because of
did.
this. And they didn't even do that. So, you know, it comes down to a few of the pairs, of which I don't really know because, again, they didn't really explain it that well. But ultimately, Santina and JM win. However, the comp isn't over, and we will see the rest of it play out tomorrow night. The two of them are going to compete against each other to then become the first HOH of the season. What did you think of this comp overall?
I mean, obviously it was like a puzzle comp and everything. And then obviously they had to like the other partner is up higher where they have to dangle from a net and everything. I thought it was like a fun comp. It's definitely one that like I probably would enjoy playing it too if I was in like any season of Big Brother Canada, but like I don't know. It was definitely fun to watch. I just wish we got to
Was
see
it?
more.
They didn't,
I don't know. It was
I
like
don't even know what's going on most of the
it
comp.
was from what we saw, it looked kind of fun and interesting, but I wish we got to see more because like obviously I wanted to see more of like what happened with each partner and why they picked each other.
Yeah.
And I just want to see more of the vibes.
Yeah, and especially like I said, when most of the episode is devoted to intros, they could have made up for that and like at least shown us like why these partners chose each other, and we didn't even get to see that. So again, it just felt very throwaway to me.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like fun to watch it from what we saw. I just wish we got to see more because yeah, it was just there was very little. It was the bare minimum.
Yeah, it really was. All we like literally all we and the weird thing about it was the way it was edited, they made it seem like Daniel and Anika were like about to win.
Yeah,
Because it
yeah.
seemed like they were really far ahead. And then all of a sudden, Santina and John Michael just win. Like, what even happened? Like, why did they fall behind? They didn't even explain that well.
Yeah.
So Arissa then announces that there will be a poll that determines who will be safe for next week's eviction. Why are we doing this so early into the season?
I don't
Especially
know because like this might put a target on whoever wins back, but also I will say I forgot to vote.
I think most people did because they didn't care.
I was going to, I just forgot. I would obviously vote for like one of the girls, Kuzi or somebody, or Anika. But yeah, I forgot to vote. But I don't know, like it's fine to have a poll, but not this early, like because it could really put a target on someone's back.
I just feel like if you're going to do a poll, you got to give us a better idea of who these people are than what they
Like
did.
wait,
Because
yeah, like wait a few rounds and stuff.
yeah, again, if we're just going off based on this first episode, what do you even go off of? Like just
Yeah, exactly.
someone's intro? Like what do you do here? How do you pick who to save? So it's no
True.
wonder that spoilers, it did end up being somebody really random. We'll talk about who that person is a little bit
Basically,
later.
the person who got it was like, it's like something that a casual would do.
Yeah, it's not
Not that I'm mad about who was saved, but like, what?
I'm not necessarily mad either, but it's also like, really? That's who you picked?
Like,
So
really? I mean, obviously, I would have just rooted for one of the girls or like Dan or Daniel or JM.
I wouldn't even know who to root for because again, I don't think they gave me any reasonings to root for anybody in this first episode. So yeah, not
Yeah.
a great first impression at all. I will say
No.
episode 2 gives us a little bit more to go off of if you are a fan of Zach and if you're very
Oh
excited to
God.
watch
It
Zach's
is not the
gameplay.
Zach show.
And if
It is Big
yeah,
Brother Canada, not
no,
the Zach show.
literally, if you're a fan of Zach and you want to watch him just like kind of talk through everything, episode 2 is great because we get a lot of insight into his game. Anyone else? Not really. But anyway, Ali, let's talk about episode 2 a little bit.
Okay, we watched through more of the competition as the rest of them are hoping to not have to come in last place. Unfortunately, despite doing well with the puzzle, they get caught in a net, and as a result, Shanaya and Renee come in last, meaning they will now have to compete against each other to see who will end up as the third nominee.
And again, they didn't even explain this very well. Like they were doing well in the puzzle, but we didn't really get to see them do
I
well in the puzzle.
know.
So I
Like,
didn't even really
what?
care.
Like, give us more.
Yeah, literally.
Shanaya feels this twist change the entire game, and she's
Mhm.
very sad and anxious, but doesn't want to overthink too much.
Yeah, it very much
Yeah.
does.
It does. Renee is annoyed that she is already feeling at the bottom. Ty talks to Renee, Shanaya, and Kuzi, and they talk about how strong of a force Santina and JM are going to be, especially with JM already making it clear how he feels about certain people.
Which again, what are they talking about? We didn't see anything about this in the first episode. So how
Yeah.
are they even like how do we have any evidence that JM even was playing, so hard? Like we don't have any evidence of
Literally.
that. So
Yeah, like what the hell? This is what we want to see.
yeah, again, it just feels like we're missing important conversations.
Oh yeah. Shanaya feels them coming in last will put a target on their back. Santina is unsure how to feel about winning this because she doesn't know how the house feels about her, JM, and she doesn't know if she wants to put a target on her back.
And I will say right now, Santina is one of the most neutral fucking players that I
She
have
is.
seen in Big Brother Canada in a long time. She seems to have no real care about what she's going to do. She doesn't tell
Nope.
anybody anything. She just kind of goes with the
She's
flow.
very
And
stingy.
yeah, and like that's fine for the first couple weeks, but if she continues to play the way that she is not making it far at all. I am not very impressed with
Yeah,
how she played.
she's definitely one of the people that's playing not very good so far.
Yeah, most of them aren't, but
Yeah. JM wants to start sussing people out and see what is going on behind closed doors.
which
Zach
is
and Dan,
smart. Like, I feel like knowing you're gonna be like, I feel
that's
like
smart.
honestly, JM does play this better than Santina because he
Oh,
knows
he does.
that there's a possibility that he can be HOH. So he's gonna
Yeah.
try to at least get a sense of like the vibes of the house and like see who might be a threat to each other. So, in
Yeah.
my opinion, at least, I don't really think JM did anything wrong here, and I don't feel like him getting targeted is really warranted.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that.
All right. Zach and Dan seem to be hitting it off, and JM catches wind of this and says he really likes their vibe. And Zach says he was hoping he would be the start of the show, but he feels JM understands the show the best. They ask him some questions about the challenge and seem to be getting along well with him.
And this is literally all we get in terms of this. Like, we don't really get
That's
to see
it.
any of their like overall dynamic. We don't really get to see what JM does to upset Zach and things like that. Yeah, I wasn't. Again, I do think JM did a good job recognizing that like these two people are talking. I need to not make it awkward, and I need to try to work with them. But we get so little of this. I don't really have
I
any reason
know.
to care or anything to comment on.
Yeah. Hope talks to Santina, and he really wants to work with her with how well they are getting along.
Hope is another one I'm just not impressed by at all.
Me either.
He's so vague about everything.
He is. Zach tells Jonathan he is feeling too social, while Jonathan is doing the same thing in a much quieter way where he can't help himself.
Yeah, this to me was very interesting because Zach is supposed to be like working closely with Jonathan. At least it seems like they're bonding really well. And to me, if I'm Jonathan, this comes off as threatening to me. It's like, oh my God, you're seeing that I'm really social and you're seeing that I'm this, really big threat. I need to be more wary of Zach, but doesn't put two and two together. So, we see Zach says coming in, he knows exactly who he wants to work with, but doesn't want to start anything too soon. But right now is feeling instantly close to Ty, Rob, and Jonathan. I wonder why. I don't know. Why would he possibly be getting close to the three of them and
Oh
nobody else?
God.
Now, they all walk in, they agree to stick together. However, they don't solidify a name yet. So there's that. At least they haven't solidified a name. So there's a little bit of hope that this won't be anything serious, but knowing Big Brother, it probably will. We see Kuzi talks about, and Kuzi is honestly doing really well. I think she is one of the people who is doing the best in terms of her social game.
As of right now, the best, like the ones doing the best are like for the girls, definitely Kuzi, Claudia, and Renee, in my opinion.
I don't know about Renee, but
Because
I will agree on
I think so because they're like the three that are like really social with everybody.
I mean, yeah, but without getting spoilers, Renee's a little clueless. She doesn't really know the game.
I mean, yeah, but also she is a lawyer too, and I think she's trying to downplay that.
Maybe. I don't know. Again, it's hard to say when.
I feel like she's probably just trying to like look like she's ditzy, but come in clutch later.
Again, there's no way to tell when we don't have the piece of the game. But anyway,
we'll see.
Yeah, so Kuzi talks about how well she's getting along with Ty, and they have already started talking game a bit. She thinks the two of them can rule the whole kingdom, and no matter what happens, the final decision will belong to her. He suggests for her to stick close to Renee and Shanaya and to keep an eye on for who they are connected to. So that could be a potential duo to keep an eye out for. We see everyone's taking a look at their faces, and they have been put into picture frames on the wall, a la Clue. Nothing to really talk about here other than there's a moment where Renee says she doesn't like how close her picture is. And nothing to comment on here. This is very like throwaway stuff.
Filler.
And again, you have 2 episodes to like try to lay the groundwork for the season, and this is what you decide to focus on. Yeah. What the hell? We see Shanaya talks to Rob. He said this is all a bit overwhelming. He's trying to be cool with everyone just to save face. She admits that she has a bit of a crush on him, and she tells him that she's feeling nervous and isn't super confident in her abilities, and she thinks they're really flaring it up. Shanaya is not impressing me so far. I feel like she is already way too focused on let me get in with the guys than let me try to play a game for myself and recognize what's going on.
I hope she doesn't let her crush benefit her.
That's what I feel like is going to happen. I feel like she's going to get too focused on the fact that she likes Rob, and so she's not going to be able to see the game in front of her, and it's going to, you know, she is going to be very much just like, you know, she's in a showmance, and I feel like that's
No.
unfortunately what's going to happen here. So we'll see. But right now, I am not very impressed by Shanaya as a game player. Ty then tells Rob that he's very fearful of JM with how much sway he can have with people, and he's worried that he is going to win, that he's going to win HOH, and that could very well happen. He says that he's feeling good with Zach, Rob, and Jonathan. Again, I wonder why. Why would he be feeling close with those people?
Oh, God.
And he's worried that if JM wins, that they will be going on the block. Rob is also worried because he told him he was cool with everyone but him, which I think that's honestly pretty iconic that JM's like, yeah, I'm good with everyone but you. Like, he was straight up about that.
It was funny.
And he does feel, and if I'm Rob, honestly, I appreciate his honesty, because at least I know, okay, he doesn't feel great with me. I have to try to talk to him a little bit more. But again, a lot of these people just can't seem to give JM any sort of levity, like any sort of lenience whatsoever. They just are very steadfast on like, JM's a threat and he's got to go. He does feel okay with Santina, however, and they will be okay if she wins, which can't talk about it yet, but seems like they're probably right about that. Renee and Claudia are then chatting while doing their makeup, and they want to do something with the girls, especially to be sure they can sense that there is a real bromance going on within the majority of the guys in the house already. They think they can pull in Shanaya, and Claudia thinks would be legendary to actually make it happen. But I put in quotes here, it probably won't, because we hear this every single season. We hear this every single season that there's going to be this girls' alliance. They're going to work closely together. And then what happens? It implodes like week 2 or 3. So I really don't have any faith that this is actually going to happen. Especially when you compare how Shanaya is playing compared to how Claudia is playing. I just don't see the likelihood of this happening. It'd be cool if it did, but I right now, I just don't see it.
Yeah, we'll see.
So then we get this segment where they do a fashion show with their winners' gift bags. Again, what is there to say here?
More filler.
Very throwaway stuff.
I will say that's like the only time we see Vanessa.
Yeah, literally, Vanessa's like invisible right now. Like, and this is the other thing with not having feeds is like you can very easily like purple edit people if you want to. Like, it's very easy to do that, and then suddenly we get to the end of the season and we don't even know what Vanessa did.
I will also say that Anika's only featured in like one part too.
Yeah, she's not in this much either. So we then see Zach, Ty, and Jonathan are hanging out with Kuzi, and when she walks away, Ty asks how they feel with her, if they could potentially pull her in as a number. Zach says that he isn't sure yet and feels that the 3 of them on their own could do real damage. This is where I feel like Zach is going to have a problem, because he already is, and here's the thing, I do think Zach is doing very well socially. He has a lot of sway this week because of what he's done, but I
feel like he's doing too much.
No, I think it's actually the opposite. I don't think he's doing enough. Because I think
yes and no.
Because I think what Zach needs to recognize is that him wanting to stay loyal to those 3, he is restricting himself. He's making it so he can only work with these 3 now. He's not really trying to go off of anything else. And I feel like that's really hurting him. Zach needs to recognize, like, I'm playing this game for myself. I'm not just playing for these guys. And right now, you know, if he would have said, let's try to pull in Kuzi, I think that might have actually benefited him. Or what he could have said is, let's not pull her in, but he tries to work something with her. I don't know. I just feel like Zach is not doing enough right now. He's in a good position socially. People feel good with him, but he's not recognizing that him working only with the 3 guys is going to be his downfall in this game, because he's going to be much easier to get out that way. So yeah, I don't think he's doing too much at all. I think he is not doing enough. And I think if he was doing more, I actually think he'd be in a better position than he is. So yeah, that's where I'm at with him. So he says he didn't want to start a group with a group of guys, and as he's getting more comfortable, he's having to rethink how he wants to play this game to keep them comfortable along with themselves so they can all go far together. And this is what I don't understand. He says he doesn't want to play the game this way, but he continues to play the game this way. I don't really get it. I really don't get what he's doing here. He says to them he thinks that Shanaya and Renee can easily win over, and they can also pick two of their choosing. And if they play it that way, they will win. This sounds like fucking Big Brother 16 to me. Like the way he's talking, it very much gives me that vibe where it's like, oh, let's find people that we're good with, and we'll pull them in, and we'll make them think they're on their side, and then we'll cut them when we need to. Like, so boring. Please do literally anything else. We see Ty wants to build something with Claudia as well. He says he treats Big Brother like a bit. This was like the most arrogant fucking thing he said the entire episode.
Oh, God.
And he said a lot of things that annoyed me, but this like especially was like, Jesus Christ. He's like, I treat Big Brother like it's a business deal, and sometimes you gotta schmooze, and if he has to lay in bed with a man or woman, he will do so because he's not going home without using every skill that he has. Who cares? Who cares at this point?
Come on, bro.
Daniel walks around the house a bit, finds a secret room. Again, I thought this was going to be something. It's literally just a room full of snacks, and he goes to show them, and that's it. We see them indulge.
Like it's like more filler, but I will say I would, like I said, I probably would be in there eating snacks and stuff all the time.
Yeah. He's indulging in various snacks.
But they should have like powers and stuff hidden in there.
No, they shouldn't.
Or maybe like disadvantages.
Or just don't have secret rooms at all. That would also be great because it's, don't make us think it's going to lead to
like at least make it more interesting than just that.
Or here's the thought: don't even show this shit at all. Give us actual interesting stuff to watch and not constantly show off your sponsors. We get it that you have sponsors and you need to show that you have them, but you can do that when Arissa's like, Big Brother Canada is sponsored by. You don't have to do this whole segment where they're trying on clothes from winners or they're indulging in snacks. Like literally nobody cares about this. Move on to anything else and this would be an infinitely better episode.
All right. JM is told to go to the diary room and Zach takes this time to bond with Claudia a little bit. He asks her how she has found people so far, and she says she thinks she takes a little more time, but she's still interacting with people, and she brings up the bromance, and he asks if people actually feel that way, and says he is naturally gravitating towards them, but will be playing for himself. And she's feeling there's more to the story, but that he is not telling her, which is true.
Yeah. So if we were talking about like any other cast right now, that wasn't this one where people don't really understand the game in front of them, I would say Claudia is playing way too hard. She is recognizing that there's a problem and she wants to do something about it immediately. However, with the brain cells on some of these casts and some of the people in this cast, when it comes to gameplay, I think this is definitely the right call to make. She's recognizing, there might be something more going on.
I don't think she's playing too hard at all. I think she's recognizing things but she is being very social with everyone. I think she's doing well so far. Like she's not doing too much.
Let me backtrack a second. I didn't say she is playing too hard. I said on any other cast, if she was to do this, I feel like it would be her playing too hard. Like this is her. Like think about a cast that was more fluid, didn't have like this dominant alliance that was obviously going on where people aren't recognizing it. I feel like on any other cast, if she was to do this, it would be her playing too hard because she's like, oh no, these people are talking. They must be working together. But like, it's so obvious what's going on. And the fact that she is seeing it already actually does give me a lot of hope for Claudia. Like she seems like the only person this season that could potentially change things up, could potentially shake up the game a bit. And I actually do have a lot of hope in her. So I do hope that this ends up working out because I think she is already putting two and two together. And the fact that she already is makes me feel like she's going to have some really decent reads throughout the season. And it gives me some hope that I think Claudia might be the saving grace if she ever wields power in this.
If she wins the next HOH.
But then again,
I feel like she has a good chance at winning stuff because she is very small and athletic.
But then again, who knows? Because that dead last twist could fuck up everything. So,
we'll see.
So everyone goes to the living room and they are told to do to a person. And
wait. No, that was my part.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone goes to the living room and they are told that due to a personal matter, Amal had to leave the game and to respect her privacy inside and outside of the house.
I literally forgot Amal was there. They didn't even
I
show her like
know.
prior to this.
I
So
feel like she probably just got some like personal info from like the DR, so maybe she just had to like leave to go home for it.
yeah, I would imagine so too. But this was so quick. Like literally,
Very
this
sudden.
happens, and Zach's like, just tell her we love her, and then it just cuts, and that's
I
it. Like
know. Like we never really got to see anything with her besides like the comp and stuff. But
yeah,
like,
and, like, obviously, whatever she has going on is
yeah,
probably far more important than the game anyway,
I
but at
hope she's
least give us,
okay.
like, those couple minutes to, like, see these house guests, like, reeling from this news that, like, somebody they
Literally.
just met is leaving. We could have maybe seen her bonding with somebody. I don't know. There's more they could have done with this, and the fact that we didn't even
Yep.
get an explanation on that,
It
yeah,
was just
pisses me
very
off.
it was so abrupt. Like, what?
Yeah, it was, like, really out of nowhere, and, I knew it was happening because I read a tweet where people were saying, "Oh, Amal left," but the way it happened, it felt like such an afterthought. They just, like, crammed in there. Like, I'm thinking about in, like, Big Brother 13 when, like, Evil Dick had to leave the game. They put way more effort into that than they did with Amal. Now, granted, that was Evil Dick, so it makes sense why they put more effort in, but just give us a couple minutes to kind of like process this news and not just immediately cut it. Just I don't know. I this was so abrupt. I have again nothing to really say about this other than I hope Amal is doing well. Sucks that she had to leave the game when she did. Also sucks because she was really one of the only people on this season that like was a genuine super fan and knew the game really well and probably would have provided us a lot of great content. But
I
whatever
know.
she's got going on, it's far more important in the game anyway.
Like,
So I just hope she's doing well.
I really loved her before the season started. She
I
just
do.
seems
I
so
did too.
fun. She seems so nice. But, like, yeah, she probably just had, like, family or friend stuff back home that
Probably.
or
Yeah.
things or stuff like that she just had to,
Yeah.
like, go home for. I hope she's does well. I hope she's okay. I hope everything goes well,
Yeah.
and maybe they'll bring her back at some point.
And she's probably expressing her immense disappointment that there are no feeds that she can watch her cast on.
Yep.
So yeah.
But, yeah, I hope everything's okay with her and everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much.
Kuzi talks to Santina and if she's already HOH, which she gets caught off guard by which she's caught off guard by. Kuzi said she would feel a lot of pressure if she was in their shoes. She's trying to cover her base and figure out how she feels with everyone, but Santina just says she doesn't know how everyone feels about her.
Which again, I don't feel like Kuzi did anything wrong here. Like
No,
Kuzi
she
knows there's a
didn't.
possibility that Santina could be HOH, and she's just trying to get a sense of like where Santina's head is at. And Santina feels like she wants her to spill her entire game to her. Like that's not
Yep.
what she wants. All you have to do is say, I feel good with these people, and I'm kind of wary of these people. Like that's all you really need to do. And the fact that she didn't even tell her that, I feel like is a big red flag for Santina's game right now.
Yeah. Rob and Jonathan bond over their family members that they miss, and Jonathan is happy he is able to talk about his son freely with him.
Yes.
Claudia talks to Santina to see how she's feeling, and she assures her she won't be putting her up if she wins. She once again talks in generalities, as saying she wants to see where people's heads are at, and Claudia brings up the Bro Alliance, and Santina doesn't think it's much of anything other than them just being naturally strong men and are bonding because of it. Oh, God.
The
Claudia
fucking
thinks
naivety in like everybody here.
they would be naive to think nothing is going on game-wise. So it's like
Literally, like I
Santina
don't understand why Santina isn't even the thing with Santina is that she's not even like trying to listen to this. She's just actively shutting it down. She's like, this is not something I have to worry about. My thing is like, why are you even gunning for HOH then? Like, throw this comp, let JM win if you don't really want to be HOH, because that's at least what it seemed like to me that she didn't want it.
yeah,
So
Santina's not really doing like a good job at all. Like
no, I honestly really do fear for her after this week. I don't
me
think she's in
too.
a good spot at all.
Oh yeah.
With even with this, like how she's been talking to people, it's not good. It's not good at
No.
all.
She's just doing awful.
Yeah, and especially like this early on, there's no reason to be this cagey. There's no reason to be
Yep.
this secretive about everything. And the fact that she is, it's just going to make people a lot more suspicious of her. They're going to think she has like all these side deals going on and things like that. And maybe she does, but when people are asking you genuine questions of like, what do you want to do? the least you can say is like, well, I've really only talked to these people and I haven't really talked to these people yet. It's literally the first week. It's not like you're far into the game. Santina's acting like they're at jury already when they literally just moved in. So I just feel like she's not even really helping herself here. She's, again, limiting herself because she's not giving the people the information, not just not giving people the information they need, she's not giving them any information. And as a result, I don't think she's going far at all.
Yeah, I don't see her going past like the next few rounds.
No.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
JM talks
Very
to Dan.
disappointing.
JM talks to Dan and Zach and says he hasn't really talked to anyone other than them, and putting anyone on the block would be a fair game. So he needs something to happen in the next couple days to hopefully narrow it down a bit.
Right.
Zach lies to JM and says the first day the guys approached him and said he didn't want that. He didn't want that, and JM says if he wins HOH, the guys will be going up, and he will announce it. But if he can't justify an actual nominee, that is what he's going to do. And Zach is mortified about this.
And look, I understand, again, if this was like later on in the game, you've worked with this alliance for a while, you want to make sure you're protected, and then someone says they're going after them, I can understand why Zach would be upset. But again, I want to reiterate, it is week one. It is literally week one. You can choose any avenue you want in the game for yourself. And I feel like if I'm Zach in this scenario, I recognize, oh, JM's not talking about me. He's talking about other people that I'm potentially working with. If I don't want to be known as I'm in this guy's alliance, I cut one of them, and then I play a much more fluid game for myself, and I have a lot more people on my side. But for some reason, Zach takes like major offense to this, and he thinks that JM is like targeting him when JM literally said that he feels good with him and Dan Zabo. So I don't really know why Zach was like so upset about this. I think Zach could have easily just like given up like a hope, like a Rob, because he clearly wants to be close to Ty and Jonathan. So what he could have done was he could have just said, just make sure it's not Ty or Jonathan, and, you know, talk about how they might be beneficial for him. And then I feel like Zach would have probably come out of this week better than he does. But again, him wanting to target JM immediately because of this, it's just him like losing a potential ally pretty much. And I don't think
he's not doing it at all with
no.
that. JM talks to Santina and she thinks they should just go hard for this, and they agree to keep each other safe.
We'll see if that actually happens.
Oop. It's time for the second part of the HOH comp. JM and Santina will be facing off to determine the next HOH, while Renee and Shanaya will battle it out to avoid being dead last. For this challenge, they will race to collect the garden statue pieces scattered in their lane and assemble a puzzle of Kevin Jacobs. Once they have figured out the statue, they can figure out their hedges, lining it up perfectly so that their box lands perfectly into Kevin's crown. However, if it fails, they must head back down their ladder and start again.
I will just say, it's a good week to be Kevin Jacobs, because he gets a lot in these first two episodes. He has a thing on the wall with like all the other past winners and final twos. And then he has this puzzle. So I don't know. Maybe there'll be a lot of Kevin Jacobs references this season, as there should be, because he's a king. But
he was iconic.
Yeah, he was. I really just want that cast back at this point, because this cast is not doing it right now.
We'll see. Ultimately, Santina is able to win HOH, and Shanaya wins the other face-off, making Renee an auto third nominee.
Yeah, and this was so deflating to me. Like, again, seeing the work that JM had been doing and how he actually, I think, did do a pretty good job of setting himself up. If he was HOH, he had a clear idea of what he wanted to do. And I think he could have probably potentially talked to like Zach and Dan. And then you see on the flip side that Santina, who expressed little to no interest in even becoming HOH, seemed to have no idea of what she wanted to do. The mere thought of it terrified her. The fact that she's the HOH and not JM, I mean, I feel like that pretty much sets the tone for this season, which is not going to be great.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully it gets better, but...
Yeah, I will say I did like this comp a little bit more. They explained it better. And I
did too.
But yeah, that's really all we have for BB Can 11. Like I said, not a ton going on in these first two episodes, unless your name is Zach. There isn't really a lot to get excited for. I don't think they did a very good job of
I will
showing.
say for the guys, I think Ty is probably in the best position.
I think he's doing really well. He's making the rounds, and I think it's gonna
because
take
he's got like it seems like he's got a good relationship with Kuzi, Claudia, Anika, etc. Like but yeah, so I definitely have high hopes for him.
Yeah, I feel really good about.
I honestly, I think Renee will be fine too, just because like her just being a third nominee from the comp, I don't think she's gonna go.
Yeah, but I also feel like she's not doing enough, which we'll talk about more. Maybe
like people seem to really like her though.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, right now I'm just not really feeling this cast. This episode was honestly very boring to me. I'm hoping that this gets better and that it becomes a lot more interesting, and this isn't just the Zach show constantly, and we don't just focus on like this guy's alliance. But considering how Big Brother has gone before when it comes to like this majority alliance that nobody goes for, that's established very early, not feeling great about this cast. And also the fact that we don't have the feeds, it makes it even worse. Because
I will also say Daniel and Dan haven't really been doing a lot either yet.
Daniel has really not been shown much at all, which is very disappointing. I was very excited to see him.
I know, same. I feel, hopefully he does more. It's just like right now him and Dan have done like nothing.
But that's really it. I don't really think there's much else to talk about here. I wish that we had more to discuss, but like I said, when you don't have the context, there isn't really much you can say here other than we'll see how tomorrow night's episode goes, and if it gives us even just a little bit, a modicum of an idea of what is going on with some of these house guests, an idea of what this season might actually be revolved around, and not just little brief snippets here and there. Because right now, that's all we really have to go off of. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up this surprisingly long video about an episode we don't have much to say about?
We have, for the first two, it's already over an hour. Well, we had more to say beforehand too.
Yeah.
But I just hope the dailies get a little bit more interesting, more info, and not just like filler random stuff. And also like I hope the episodes get better. Like I don't want this show to be canceled. Like just bring back feeds. That's all we want.
Well, they might have already dug their own grave on that, but either way, we will see how the rest of the season does play out. Other stuff we want to plug real quick. We will be talking about the first two episodes of a much more interesting cast with Survivor 44. Trust me when I say we have a lot more interesting stuff to talk about there. So look forward to that. Also get excited because over on my channel, Ali is going to be on doing a monthly series with me where we talk about every show that we watched that came out throughout the months. So look forward to that. I'm very excited for that show. We basically watched like every TV show together at this point. So I just felt like it was.
There's only a few things we watched separately, but like we're almost done working on our 2022 video. We just have a few more to cover. And then obviously we'll eventually do our 2023 one because we only have a few shows that we finished from like this year so far, but we'll definitely cover more soon.
But that's it for this video. Other than that, I don't really think we have too much else to go off of. If you are watching this season, let us know.
Also, we will also be eventually we'll be catching up on other reality shows soon. Like we're gonna do The Traitors, The Circle season 4.
Whenever we get around to that.
Maybe, and also of course finishing The Mole and our BB24 season review, and also I'm thinking of maybe doing Perfect Match because I thought it'd be kind of a fun one, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe we'll see. That's like a.
I don't know.
That's like
a maybe. What I'm gonna say in that video because I don't.
That's like a maybe because I thought it'd just be like fun, like a fun watch.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you are watching BB Can, cool. There's not a lot of you out there, so let's try to hopefully band together and do what we can to watch this season and keep just for our sanity, come together and figure out what the hell to talk about. Because right now I'm even struggling. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, couples who podcast together, stay together. Love you guys.
Love you guys.